Hello and welcome to the Windows 7 and Windows 10 comparison video. My name is Joshua Karekis. I'm from the GPK group, and today I'm going to show you the differences and similarities between Windows 7 and Windows 10. What you're looking at right now is the Windows 7 desktop, and you're probably familiar with how this works. You've probably been using it for some time. However, I'm going to go through some of the elements of Windows 7 so that when I go to Windows 10 desktop, you can see the differences and similarities. So starting in Windows 7, I'm going to start with the start bar, which is generally at the bottom of your screen. Starting from the right to left, you've got the clock and calendar. When you click on the clock and calendar, you get an analog clock display with a digital display at the bottom and a calendar view. Okay, moving to the left is the speaker icon. The speaker icon, when you click on that icon, gives you the ability to control the volume of any speakers or headphones you have plugged in. Moving to the left again, you've got the network icon. Now, I'm currently connected to a wired network with a cable. So I've got this picture of a computer with a cable next to it. And clicking on it doesn't give me much. It just says that I'm connected to a network. It has internet access. If there was a problem, you'd have an X or a hazard symbol here and here, and it would give you a bit of information of what's wrong. If this is a laptop with a Wi-Fi adapter in it, and Wi-Fi is enabled, you would see a wireless signal indicator icon instead of this computer with a cable icon. And then clicking on that icon, it would give you a list of all the Wi-Fi networks available to you. And if you're connected to a Wi-Fi network, it would indicate which network you're connected to. Because this is a wired-only computer, I'm not getting that option, but just so you know that it's there. And next to that, typically you'd have the USB icon. If you've got a USB device, such as a USB hard drive or a USB key, this icon will appear and allow you, if you left click on the icon, it would display all the devices connected and allow you to safely eject that device. If you have other applications installed, you'd also most likely have other icons in this area. This area is called the system tray. This is a fresh installation of Windows 7, so I haven't installed any applications, so we only have the icons that come with the computer. Clicking the up arrow here, this up arrow will show, as the tooltip indicates, hidden items. Clicking that shows the items that are typically hidden. Just a quick tip, if any of these icons you don't want hidden and you want them to display all the time in the system tray, all you need to do is left click and hold the mouse button down and drag the item you want into your system tray where you'd like it. So I want it next to the computer and the USB icon, and then let go of the button. And now this is the Bluetooth icon, is now there permanently. The same way, if I want an icon hidden, I could left click and hold. I drag it to the hidden icons arrow, and then I drag up, and then I let go of my mouse button, and now it will be hidden permanently. The only time that you'd see an icon from the hidden menu come into the system tray without you manually moving it is if the application needs to tell you something. So for example, if you had Skype running and one of your Skype friends sent you a message, the Skype icon would change like color or change, the icon would change, and a little balloon pop-up would come up and say, this person's trying to send you a message. When that happens, and if that Skype, for example, is in your hidden menu, it will temporarily move down here into your system tray, display that message, And then when you action that message, it will automatically come back into the hidden menu. So just so that you know how that works. Going to the left, you've got the start button, and we'll go through that in a minute. But the start button, again, is a menu that pops up. And then next to that, you've typically got any applications, files, shortcuts that you have pinned to the start bar. So clicking this is by default the Windows Explorer. If at any time you don't want an application pinned down here, all you need to do is right click and select unpin this program from taskbar. Doing that will make that application unpinned. It hasn't deleted the application if you open that application in a different means, either through a desktop shortcut or through the start menu. The application will appear temporarily, and it's highlighted. See how it's highlighted white? It means that application is running. If you don't pin the icon to the start bar, when you close that application, the last window of that application, application will disappear. If I wanted to pin that application back, all I need to do is open it once, have it open, right click on the program in the task and the start bar, and select pin this program to taskbar. So now it's pinned. I still have the application open, so it's displaying this glass box around the application. When I close that application, if it's pinned, the application now will stay there as a shortcut, but it won't have this glass, it won't have a glass box around it to indicate that it's open. So that's typically the start bar in Windows 7. Windows 7, you guess, like with any Windows version, you have your desktop. Your desktop is where icons live and files can live and other shortcuts. By default, you might or might not have these icons here. My installation comes with these 3 icons by default. At a minimum, you'll have the recycling bin. Here we can, any applications you install, like Google Chrome or anything else, usually place shortcuts on the desktop to allow you to quickly get to the applications. Same with files. Files can be created here. Files can be copied to the desktop or downloaded to the desktop. So that's the general user interface in Windows 7. I'm going to cross over to Windows 10 now and just show you some of the similarities. So this is the Windows 10 desktop. And just like I did with Windows 7, I'm going to start at the start bar again, which is generally at the bottom of the screen. Starting on the right, you've got the clock and date. Clicking on that, now instead of seeing an analog clock, you've got a digital clock, and you've still got the calendar view. Same functionality, just different interface. Next to that, there's another icon which we'll go through a bit later. It's one of the new features in Windows 10, but I'll skip over that icon and just get back to the speaker icon. It's the same as Windows 7. Clicking on that, again, will allow you to control any speakers or headphones you have connected to the computer. Looks a little different, again, same functionality. Next to that icon, you've got the, again, network icon, and because this is a computer that's only got a wired network, we've got an icon with a computer and a little cable. Again, clicking on that doesn't give us much. It says that it's connected, and that's about it. If it was a Wi-Fi enabled computer and the Wi-Fi was switched on, this symbol would be, again, a signal indicator icon. Clicking on that would bring up a list of all Wi-Fi networks and which network you are connected to. Again, if there's any problems with the network, you'd see an X over this icon or a hazard symbol. And next to that, again, we've got the USB icon. If you've got a USB device plugged in and you want to safely eject that device, clicking on that, left clicking on that will allow you to do that. And then again, next to that, we've got that up arrow, which shows us hidden icons that belong in the system tray. Again, same way, if we want to move them, we can just drag and drop. And again, back, drag and drop. Going to our left side, again, we have the start button, and the start menu is different. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. But just to let you know, the start button is there. Next to that are two other icons, and I'll go through them later on. And then next to these two icons, that will then have your pinned applications. Just as in Windows 7, this one goes to Windows Explorer. It's pinned. It hasn't got any indicator showing that it's open. It's just a shortcut. Clicking that will open that application. So it's going to open the Explorer for me. And now that it's open, you can see not only do we have that icon highlighted, a faint highlight, but we have a blue indicator below. And that blue indicator tells us that that's open. Again, if I want to unpin that from the start bar, all I need to do is right click and select unpin from taskbar, and then it's gone. Same with Windows 7. When you open an application that isn't pinned, it will display, but when you close that application, it will disappear again. And if I wanted to pin that again, right click, choose pin to taskbar. Now it's pinned and it's open. If I close it, it will remain, but it won't have that blue indicator at the bottom, and it won't be highlighted. Desktop works in exactly the same way as Windows 7. Files can live here. You can create new documents exactly the same way. In all intensive purposes, it's exactly the same. Okay, so that's some of the similarities between the two operating systems. I'm going to go back to Windows 7 now. And another thing I'm going to show you is the home folder. Now, depending on your environment, normally if you're a home user, you use your local profile. And what that means is double-clicking my name. This is my name, Joshua Karekis. This is my profile folder. And the profile folder usually is where you store all your data. So it has your downloads, has your favorites, your My Documents, your music, your photos, your videos. Everything is normally stored in this profile. If you're a part of a company, they might have things set up differently where you have a home folder or a network drive, and it's typically recommended you use their processes of storing things on the network drive. Normally this is because it's what they are backing up. They are set up a backup application to back up these network drives so that if anything happens to your laptop or to your local machine or even their server infrastructure, they're able to restore your information so you don't lose any of it. But for a home environment, you usually use the local profile. These are the files that live on your computer. Some environments have it set up that these folders, you still use your local profile, but they synchronize back to their servers. So check with your network administrator on how they've set up how your files are stored, but typically this is how it looks on Windows 7, your profile directory. Going back to Windows 10, if I go to my profile directory, you'll notice that it's fairly similar, nearly exactly the same. So you've got your documents, you've got your favorites, your downloads, your music, your photos, your videos, with the addition of some other icons, but generally they're stored in a similar fashion. Going back to Windows 7, I'm just going to show you, open File Explorer and show you the similarities and differences in File Explorer. Now this is Windows 7. Typically, by default, you've got on the left-hand side, you've got favorites. And under favorites, you've got by default desktop, downloads, and recent places. Anytime a File Explorer window is open, even if you're in an application and opens the file, open file dialog, for example, you will see the favorites on the left-hand side. If I wanted to add another item down here, say I need to get to my documents, I want to be able to get to my documents with a single click, I can add an entry here. So I'll show you, for example, I'll open up my profile folder again in another window. And see, I've got my documents here. Say I want to add them to my favorites. All I do is I left click and hold the mouse button down, and then I drag. Be careful not to drag over another folder and let go, because I'm going to then move that folder into that folder. It can get confusing. Just keep the button held down till I'm sort of over the favorites menu and I'm still holding down the left button. You can see that line that comes between. I can slot this documents folder shortcut anywhere I want. Say if I want it between downloads and recent places. I've got that line there. I've still got the left mouse button held down. See how it says on the screen, create link in favorites. If I let go of the mouse button now, which I will, it will now create a link there. So now if I close this window, as you can see, this is the window we had open previously. I've now got a shortcut to my documents. Whatever window I've got open now, I can always click my documents and it jumps me straight into my documents folder. This works the same with pretty much any folder, even network folders or network shares. If you've got a network share open and you drag the folder, again, be careful not to let go of the mouse button when dragging the file so that you don't move the file or the folder. Drag it under your favorites menu on the left-hand side of the screen, and it will create a shortcut there. So whenever you want to jump to that folder, you can always do that. And then after that, we've got libraries. Libraries, again, are just essentially shortcuts. I've already created a shortcut here for documents. It's a bit redundant because we've already got shortcuts to all our documents, our music, our photos. But that was just an example. So we could put folders in the favorites that wouldn't be contained in here, but libraries just show you typically your they're just basically shortcuts to your profile folders. Under that, we have computer. Now computer, if I click this little arrow, it's going to expand computer. Computer just shows you any local disks, any network drives, any USB drives, basically any drives or devices that are connected to the computer that can store files. So right now I've got nothing really connected to this computer. I've just got the local C drive. Clicking on that just shows me the C drive. Normally we don't recommend users place any files in the C drive because they don't get backed up. And it's usually where the system stores its files, not files that you're using on a day-to-day basis. But like I said before, underneath your local C drive, you could have your USB drive, etc. Clicking those drives will show you the contents of the drive. Clicking computer again will just bring you back to the main computer view. You've also got any optical drives or any other drives that you've got connected. And then under that, we typically have the network. Clicking that it'll do a search of the network and see what other computers that you have on the network. Typically in a work environment, you don't really use this either because you usually have network drives mapped for you, mapped as actually drives under computer. So normal companies will have under the computer icon will have all your network drives listed here. So you don't actually need to go into network, but that's sort of where if you don't have a drive mapped, you can also drill down and find it another way. So that's Explorer. You've got things like search, here, if you're looking for a file, typing a file name or an extension will help you search. And again, you've got the breadcrumb view up here. So as I drill down into a folder, it's going to show me the path that I'm at. And if I need to jump anywhere within that path, I can just click. Say if I want to jump back straight to the C drive, I click on that and I'm back. So that's Windows Explorer. You probably heard this or been using this a lot, so you know how it works. But I just wanted to go through each of the elements of Windows Explorer in Windows 7. And I'm going to switch back over to Windows 10. Okay, we're back in Windows 10. I'm going to open Explorer. And you'll notice that there are things that are slightly different, but generally the user interface looks the same. Now on the left-hand side, instead of favorites, like Windows 7 had, we have quick access. It's essentially exactly the same thing. It gives you quick access to any of these locations. Now by default includes documents, pictures, videos, etc. But the same way, I've just created this folder, custom folder. If I wanted that to be able to access that folder quickly from this menu, all I need to do is hold my left mouse button down, just like Windows 7, and I can select wherever I'd like it, and let go of the left mouse button, and again it's there. So if I opened another window, again I've still got that there. I can always click on it and quickly get back to that folder. We've still got the breadcrumb view, exactly the same. You can jump between folders. We've got the search box, allows you to search for any file within the folder that you're in. And then remember we had computer before. Now Windows 10 essentially is just called this PC. And now in this PC, instead of just having your drives like your USB drives, your optical drives, your local drives, now they've just added these other shortcuts. Again, it's quite redundant because we've got them here in quick access, but it's just making sure that you can always get to your documents, your downloads, your music, your photos, your videos. They appear here. But generally, under this PC, you'd use to access network drives or all USB drives, etc. And it works the same way. Clicking on the drive will show you the contents of the drive. Under that is the network. Again, the same thing as Windows 7. Clicking on that will do a quick search on what computers are on your network and what shares they have available. Normally in a work environment though, you don't use this because they map drive letters or network drives for you under this PC heading. All your network drives usually appear here. So it's essentially the same. The only other thing that I'm going to show you that's different is that, say if this was a tablet computer and you were using it in touchscreen only mode, so meaning you didn't have a keyboard available and you're using your finger as the mouse pointer, it can be sometimes a bit difficult to click on these small icons here or move drives, like copy and paste files by right clicking. So say if I was in the documents folder and I wanted to copy this movies folder somewhere, I could drag and drop or right click and go copy and then go to pictures, for example, and go paste. But on a touch screen, it's harder to do that with your finger. So Windows 10, up here you've got computer and view. When you click on computer, you've got bigger icons to work with, like view, for example. Say I'm in the movies directory and I want to go view. I can change the layout. I can hide and show the preview pane. And I can do simple things like copying and pasting using these bigger icons. So by default, when you click on these, they come up temporarily, and then when you do something else, say you're in this area, they hide away. If I wanted to keep them there, so if I was using the tablet, I click on this little drop-down arrow, and now it's there permanently. So if I'm jumping around folders, that stays. So say if I want to copy this My Movies folder, if I was using my finger, see now I've got the copy, I've got the paste, I've got the cut, I've got the move to, the copy to. These are a lot bigger icons and allow me to use my finger a lot easily. So say if I want to copy this, I can tap this with my finger and choose I want to move copy to my downloads folder. And now when I go to my downloads folder, I've got my movies there as well. So this just allows you to do things in single taps instead of when you've got your finger, it's harder to do right clicks, which is what we're used to with normal computers. And then when you want to hide this bar, you can click this up arrow again, and essentially the interface is transformed back to normal. So that's the Windows Explorer in Windows 10. Just a quick recap, going back to Windows 7, Explorer, essentially the same interface. Instead of favorites in Windows 10, we've got quick access. They've done away with libraries and encompass libraries underneath the computer icon, which gives you access to these libraries under the computer icon. And in Windows 10, they've added the larger buttons for touch. As you notice up here, we don't have any icons to do. We can do stuff like copy and paste using these menus, but you've still got these smaller menu icons. Whereas in Windows 10, go back to Windows 10, when you bring down the touch screen menu, they call it the ribbon. If you're on a folder or file, they give you the ability to copy or move to, and the icons are much larger and allow you to do things like rename as well and other tasks. So that's the Explorer. Okay, so we've covered the start bar, which is at the bottom of your screen. We've covered the desktop, so working with icons and files on the desktop. We've covered Windows Explorer, which is how you navigate files. Now we're going to go into the Start menu. So the Start menu is pulled up by clicking the Start button. On Windows 7, by default, the Start menu is broken up into a few areas. You've got your pinned applications. The pinned applications are the ones here. Occasionally also it will display your most used applications. So right now these are the ones that come default, and these aren't pinned, they're just ones that you use regularly. Normally a pinned application, if I right click this one and go pin to Start menu, see now that it's got this line, the color is different, but if I click it again, you've usually got this line separating the pinned applications, which is the calculator in this context, and then you've got your most recent applications under that. Clicking this All Programs button will actually display every application you have installed. This is like your catch-all. If you can't find a way to get to an application another way, like the desktop or from your pin button down here on your start bar, going to the Start menu and clicking All Programs will show you all the programs you have. It allows you to expand the folders and actually see all the applications you have available to you. And then clicking the back button gets you back to this. Then we've got here the search. Search in Windows 7, actually starting with Windows 7 and up, is really great. It allows you to, instead of having to trawl through these programs, say if I wanted to get to Paint, right? And Paint wasn't pinned, it wasn't anywhere. All I had to do is search for Paint. Or I can even just start typing PA, and there you go. It searches by default programs first, and then settings, and then files. So say if I had a file called Paint, it would also display that down here. But I've searched for Paint, and I can launch Paint using the search feature. So the search, again, is powerful. It's a really quick way to actually launch applications. So if I had Word I don't have Microsoft Word, but I've got WordPad. If I start typing Word, it comes up with WordPad. It's automatically selected. I don't actually have to click on it. I just have to hit the Enter key, and it launches the application for me. So search is a really good way to actually launch applications. And even looking for files. So I don't actually have any files on here. Let me quickly create a file in my documents. Say a text file and call it test, okay? If I hit the start button and actually search for test, it's actually found that document. So say if there's a document that you've created and you can't find it by going through Windows Explorer, again, using the search is a quick way to find what you're looking for. So search is very powerful in Windows 7, and as I'll show you in a minute, in Windows 10 as well. On the right-hand side of the start menu of Windows 7, you've got your profile folder, which is the same as this icon here on the desktop. Clicking on that just brings up Windows Explorer with your profile. And then you've also got other shortcuts, quick shortcuts to your documents, your music. Computer is, again, the same as this computer icon. It just gets you to your drives and your shares. Control panel, most of you won't be going into there, but that, again, control panel allows you to remove programs, etc. It's pretty much every setting that you can think of, you can change within control panel. Then you've got your devices and printers, which just gives you a list of printers that you have installed and other peripheral devices that you have plugged into your computer. And then you've got default programs and help. And then under that, when you finish with your computer for the day and you need to shut down, you've got your shutdown command, and then, or if you're in a corporate environment, you can also log out this way. So clicking this, hovering over or clicking this arrow will give you the log off option, lock option, restart, or sleep. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because in Windows 10 this is done differently. So that's the start menu in Windows 7, which you're probably already used to. I'm going to go into Windows 10 now and show you the similarities and the differences. So now we're on Windows 10. I'll click on the Start menu icon. As you can see, it's a lot different. The interface is a lot different. There's less colors. It's more flat design. But essentially, all the functionality is there. It just looks a little different. So I'm going to start on the left-hand side, starting with my name up here. Now, on the Windows 7, I'll just quickly jump back. Okay, Windows 7, in order to log out of Windows 7, you need to go down here where it says shut down and click this arrow and then select log off. Go back to Windows 10. So we've got the start menu open. Clicking on my name up here allows me to lock or log out. So before we had it down here in the right hand side of the start menu, now it's at the top. At the top it displays who's logged in to this computer right now and allows me to sign out, lock. Okay. Then under that, as the heading suggests, it shows you the most used icons or applications. Going quickly back to Windows 7, essentially it's this same menu here. This displays the most used applications. And remember, I pinned the calculator and this was displayed by this line. Well, in Windows 10, under most used, it shows the most used applications here. But the actual pinned applications, the ones that stay there, are actually now displayed on the right-hand side. So these are applications. See how I've got the calculator here? This is a pinned application. So clicking that will open the calculator application in Windows 10. I can pin or unpin an application from this side the same way as Windows 7. In Windows 7, If I wanted to unpin the calculator, I can right click, select unpin, and it's not there anymore. If I wanted to pin it again, if it's in my most used icon, I can right click list, I can right click and pin to start menu, and it would pin. I can also go through all programs, look through accessories, find the calculator, right click and go pin as well. Okay, but in Windows 10, it's essentially the same. Right clicking this, I can unpin from the start and it will remove that. And if it was in my favorites, so say the snipping tool is in my most used list, I can right click pin. It's now going to appear. And if I don't like where it is, see it's on the side here, I can hold my left mouse button down, drag, and I can actually put it wherever I like and drop it. If I want it down here, I can put it there. And now that's pinned. If I want to unpin it again, right click, unpin. Okay? Going down to here, some of the icons that were on the right-hand side in Windows 7, so going back to Windows 7, we've got these little shortcuts here, the ones that get to our profile, ones that get to computer. These icons are just summarized in one icon here called File Explorer. If I click on that icon, it'll just open the Explorer. If, however, I click on the arrow next to the icon, it will show me desktop, downloads, documents, the My Movies, the one that I pinned before in Explorer, and pictures, etc. And also give you ones that you go to frequently. If you want to add it to the list, you can click this pin and it will add it to the list. So it's essentially one menu entry to do the same thing in Windows 7 as all these items here that took up a lot more room. They've put it all in one area here. But it's essentially the same thing, you just need to remember where it is. Going below that is settings. Now, as it suggests, it's the settings. However, if you remember on Windows 7, going back to Windows 7, we had control panel. Clicking that gives you, it has everything there. It's a bit daunting. In Windows 10, clicking setting gives you a dialog with, it's a summary view or sort of category view of where the settings are, and then you can drill down from there. Another thing that is contained in settings, so if I go back to Windows 7, let me close Control Panel. Underneath Control Panel was the devices and printers, and this is where you can see what printers you have installed, what printers are the default, what other devices you have connected. In Windows 10, there is no such icon that says devices and printers. Instead, if we click Settings, which we have open, there is a category called devices, Bluetooth, printers, mouse, etc. Clicking that category, the interface is a little different. It's not displayed as icons, but it's essentially the same thing. We've got the printers installed here. We have the option to add a new printer or scanner. By default, Windows will use the last printer you use as the default. We can turn this off and see now that's the default. If I wanted to make this printer the default, I can click on it once and set as default, and now that's the default. So there's your basic settings there. And in Windows 7, I'll quickly go back, we had all the devices under one heading here, like my mouse and my Bluetooth and all that. On Windows 10, we've got categories. So this printers and scanners only displays printers and scanners. Connected devices only displays connected devices. Bluetooth, mouse, etc. USB devices, etc. Okay, so quick recap on that one. In Windows 7, you've got control panel and printers and devices that you live out of making changes. In Windows 10, they've simplified it a little and given you one icon that says settings. Settings allows you to manage a lot of areas of Windows. Going into any of these categories will allow you to drill down and configure different aspects of the computer. Like system has things like your power settings and your display settings and all that. Devices, again, like I've shown you before, contains your printers, etc. Okay, so that's settings, and then we have power. Power, clicking on that allows you to sleep, shut down, or restart. And because I've got updates ready to install, it's got this update and shutdown, just to letting you know that when you click this icon, it won't straight away shut down. It will actually do updates first and then shut down. If it didn't have any updates to do, it would just say shut down and restart. So again, Windows 7, it was down here. One button to shut down and then another menu to do the other actions. And we had the option to log off and switch user. Windows 10, the log off is up here where my name is and the lock. And then to shut down is down here where it says power and allows us to sleep, shut down, or restart. Okay. Windows 7, one more element to go is the all programs. All programs, remember, it shows you every application that's installed in your machine. If you can't find it anywhere else, this is the place that it will be living. And from here we can create shortcuts as well. Windows 10, we have the same sort of thing. Now it's just called All Apps. You click on All Apps and it will show you all the applications you have installed alphabetically sorted. Sometimes you'll have a folder here. Clicking that arrow will expand the folder and allow you to see all the other applications installed. Okay, so that's everything. Again, we can make shortcuts from here. So say, like OneNote, for example, I want it to be pinned. Clicking All Apps, I can go down OneNote, right-click, pin to start. And now, if I click back here, now I've got it pinned and I can drag it wherever I like. Clicking on that will open OneNote. Again, to remove, right-click, unpin, and you're done. So that's the Start menu. So next to the Start menu is the Search button. Clicking that brings up the Search menu. Remember in Windows 7, I showed you that we can use the search in the Start bar to search for applications, so Paint, for example, or Files, Test. So and we could use it just to quickly launch applications, or even if I wanted to find a setting. So printers, or typing printers, brings up devices and printers. So search is really powerful. If I don't know where what I'm looking for is, search is a great place to start. Windows 10 is exactly the same. Clicking the search button next to the Start bar allows me to search for programs, Paint, files. I actually haven't created a file called Test. Let me quickly undo that just to show you. Test. There we go. Or things like printers. Again, the search works the same way. It allows you to quickly search for what you're looking for on your PC. I did say that I clicked this search button, but you can also click the Start button and just start typing. So if I click the Start button and I haven't clicked anything else like All Apps, if I clicked All Apps and started typing now, well, that worked as well. So clicking on the Start button is what I'm saying is if you start typing, it'll automatically bring up the search. So before I showed you I clicked the search button, brought up the search straight away, and then I could start searching. Clicking the Start button doesn't bring up the search, but if I start typing, it'll automatically go to the search. So you don't need this icon here that sometimes it's quicker just to jump to search. But clicking the start button or hitting the start button on your keyboard, if you've got a start button, usually next to your Control and Alt keys, pressing the start button there and then just start typing allows you to really quickly launch applications. See, Paint is already highlighted. I hit the Enter key and Paint launches. So that's the start button. Just a quick recap. At the top, displays who's logged in, allows you to log out and lock your machine. Under that is the most used applications. Next to that is your pinned applications. Below that is access to your File Explorer and quick access to your profile. Under that is your settings, power to allow you to restart, shut down or sleep your machine. And under that is all applications. And then we also have the search. Very similar to Windows 7. Now at this stage of the video, we've gone through all the similarities of Windows 7 and Windows 10. Now all that's left to show you is the new features that Windows 10 has introduced, which aren't included in Windows 7. So going to Windows 10, you notice this icon next to the search button. If you hover over it, it says Task View. Now what is Task View? Say you had a lot of windows open. I'm just going to quickly launch a few applications. Quickly launch Paint. And let's say Internet Explorer. See how quickly it is to launch applications searching. So now you've got multiple applications open. You can see them all open down here in your taskbar. But there'll be occasionally when you'll have heaps of applications open. You'll have heaps of applications down in the taskbar and it'll become a bit cluttered, and you just want to be able to see all your windows at once. Well, that's exactly what Task View is. You click on Task View, zooms out and shows you all the applications you have running and displays what they're showing. And it allows me to quickly jump to one of them. So I had Internet Explorer at the top. I wanted to jump to Paint. Click on Paint. Brings Paint to the front of the screen and allows me to work. Clicking it again allows me to zoom back out. And here I can also close applications. So if I click the X here, it's prompting me now to save this file because I made a change. See how it's flashing down here? I actually have to go there, acknowledge that. But I can quickly go back, and if it doesn't require dialog, I can just quickly close these windows and then I'll have a clean desktop again. You notice this other feature down here that says new desktop, and I got desktop here 1 and 2. You can actually, in Windows 10, if you don't have multiple screens, you can create as many virtual desktops as you like. So this is my primary desktop here. I'm going to open up applications again. Internet Explorer, Paint, Calculator. I don't know. What other applications do I have? Money. Okay, so I've got a few open now. If I click on this again, I'll click on Task View to zoom out and see what I've got running. There will be times, especially graphic designers and the people that have a lot of programs open, they want to have a separate space to do certain tasks. So I say if I want all my Photoshop and all my editing applications on one desktop, but then I want my spreadsheets on another desktop. Windows 10 allows you to do that. So if I click this new desktop button, it creates a blank desktop slate. If I click here, this is a blank desktop. I still have other applications running, but they're on another desktop. If I go back into Task View, I can see my other desktop here. If I click on that, it brings up my other desktop with all my other applications. Clicking that again, I can get back to my other desktop. Now say if I want to put all my editing applications on desktop 2, I can click with the left mouse button. I haven't let go, I've just clicked, and I can drag and I can put it in my second desktop. Say, just to pretend that Calculator is another editing application, I'll put that there. So now on desktop 1, I've got money and the browser. I go back here, and desktop 2, I've got my calculator and paint. And I can quickly just switch between the desktops. So I can have different workflows and workspaces in different desktops, and I can create many of these, as many as I want really. And just create as many desktops as I want and switch between them. So, and quickly I can close them the same way, just by clicking the X. I can close my desktops down. If I close a desktop that has applications running in it, it will bring those applications back into the adjacent desktop. So now I close that and all the applications are still running, they're just now on the main desktop. So let me just close all these. So that's task view, quick view. It's a quick way to see what you have open and what work you have open, and what if you need to close them or if you need to manage them better. So the other new feature that Windows 10 brings is, remember that icon that was next to the clock, which I skimmed over? This icon is the Action Center or Notification Center. When you get a notification and when the computer wants to let you know of something on an alert, for example, if someone messages you on Skype, or you got a new Facebook update, or the computer just wants to tell you something, like you've inserted a USB drive and it wants to ask you, what do you want to do with this drive? It will pop up a little window in the very lower right-hand corner of your screen, and it will give you a notification. After a few seconds, that notification will disappear. Say if you want to see that notification again, or you want to see a history of your notification, this icon here will actually change to white if you've got notifications. Right now, if I hover, it actually says no new notifications. Clicking on it, at the top starting from the top of the screen down, you will actually see a list of all the applications by date and time of the past notifications, and you can action them from here, or there'll be an X next to it which allows you to clear the notification from your Action Center. So this area displays all the past notifications that come up on your machine. Under that is some tiles or shortcuts, and I'll quickly go through them. The first one here is tablet mode. Now, currently we're in what's called desktop mode. Desktop mode is you have a desktop, you've got your icons on your desktop, you have a start menu. When you launch an application or a program like Windows Explorer, it'll open in a window. You can make it full screen, but you can make it a window, you can drag things around, you can overlap windows. And the interface is sort of geared to a desktop and mouse situation. If, however, you have a tablet and you can fold the keyboard away and use it as a pure touchscreen tablet, clicking the notification center and clicking tablet mode will transform the interface into a pure tablet touch-based interface. So the start menu will become your default. You don't have your desktop anymore. And you'll see your pinned applications here. Any applications you open will default in full screen. Even desktop applications, so if I click search and search paint, this is designed for a desktop, but if I click it, it will open in full screen. If I try to make it a window, it won't let me, because we're in tablet mode. Accessing the start menu, you click those three lines, will allow you to access the start menu, but again, it's in more of a full screen. It takes up majority of your screen, and it's much easier to select using the touch interface, using your finger. And switching applications, if you have multiple applications open, for example, you need to use the task view to switch between applications. So again, this is geared to the tablet. It's great if you're using in pure tablet mode, but if you're using a keyboard and mouse, the desktop view is a lot easier to use. To switch back, just click on the notification center, click the tablet mode to toggle it off, and now we're back into the desktop. We have the desktop back. Going to the Explorer gives you, it allows you to use Windows again. Back into the notification center, we've got the rotation lock. Again, that mostly applies to tablets because you can turn the screen in any direction, and it has an accelerometer in there which will tell Windows to change how the display is, so to portrait view or landscape view. Clicking on that and highlighting that will toggle rotation lock, which means even if you turn the screen, it will stay the same way that you have it. The note icon just launches OneNote. It's just a shortcut. All settings just launches the settings window. It's the same as just going to start and settings. It's exactly the same thing. Connect. If you've got a display like a TV or a projector that supports Miracast or any of the Wi-Fi or wireless technologies, clicking connect will start a search for these displays or speaker systems and allow you to wirelessly connect to them. So say if there was a TV or projector that supported Miracast and you're on the same network as that TV, it would list the TV here and you could click on the TV and then you'd automatically project your desktop to that device. So that's through the connect icon. Then you've got the project icon. So say if you're connected to a display either via Miracast or via a cable. So say if you had a laptop and you connected the cable, the display port on the laptop to a projector or a screen, clicking project will ask you whether you want to just keep using the screen you're using now. Do you want to duplicate your screen so that anything that's on your screen now is displayed on the other screen? Extend lets you use that as a secondary, the other display as a secondary monitor. And then second screen only is you want to just display the picture on the secondary screen and not on your screen. So that's what the project shortcut does. VPN, if your company uses a VPN technology that's supported by Windows 10, clicking on that allows you to change settings or connect to that VPN. But a lot of other companies use custom VPN software, which is separate from Windows 10. But that's how you access it using that way, that method. The Bluetooth button is self-explanatory. The fact that it's blue and not grey means that the Bluetooth is switched on. Clicking on it will bring you into the Bluetooth section of the devices, which will list any Bluetooth devices that you have connected. Currently, I don't have any. And currently it's searching for Bluetooth devices around me. If it found something, it would allow you to pair and connect with that. Then you've got quiet hours. What that does, right now it's switched off. If I turn it on, it'll go blue. What that does is that normally, if that's switched off, if you get a Facebook update or a Skype update, you'd get a notification here. You get also a little chime that comes to let you know. But say if you're presenting, you're presenting in front of a large group of people, you don't want your Facebook updates to come up on the screen. Or say if you're working late at night or you just want to get your work done, you don't want to be distracted by notifications. Click on Notification Center, click Quiet Hours. You notice the actual icon down here has got this little circle with a line. Let me click it again, see it's disappeared. Now when I click it again, it's got that circle. Now we're in quiet hours mode. What that means is that any notifications that come in will not be displayed on your screen or make a sound. If you click on that, it'll still show you any past notifications, or if you click into it, you'll be able to see the notifications that you have, but they won't just pop up on your screen or get in your way or distract you. So that's what quiet hours is. And then next to that is location. Basically, that means location services. So if your laptop or device has a GPS chip in it, if location services are switched on and the application has permission to use location services, an application can use your location. So for example, if you open Maps or a mapping application on your computer and you've got location on, it'll allow the application to pinpoint where you are. If that's switched off, it's turning off location services, which will essentially deny the application from getting your location. So that's what that is, it just turns it on and off. This concludes the comparison video between Windows 7 and Windows 10. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped you build confidence in using Windows 10. And if you have any problems or any queries, contact us at GPK Group. Our support email address is support@gpkgroup.com.au. Thank you.